Let's get it on. Week 9, no intro music, all analysis. Before we get started, thank you. This is the League of Classless Gentlemen and Jesse, by the way. Week 9 podcast preview show, whatever you want to call this video production. But whatever you do call it, I tell you what you need to realize and recognize and receive into your ear holes is that we are brought to you by the finest law firm in not only Indiana, but frankly, the entire country, and that is the Tesler and Adler, and most importantly, Whalen Law Firm. Bright and sunny Noblesville. They're frankly just the best. Okay, they can do everything for you. Okay, they will legally, sexually, emotionally. Hit them up if you're ever in a pinch. Okay, way better than Ben Freeman is Trampus Whalen. So hit him up. I texted out to some threads yesterday. 2 threads. I'm in 2 threads. Text threads. Ryan Fitzpatrick added for $51. Michael sent me a text. Michael Mitch, my brother-in-law, he has red hair, feelings, perhaps. He texted me on Sunday night, said, hey, I'm going to overbid for Ryan Fitzpatrick, again. And he bid $50 and it wasn't enough. Tyler bid 51. So $157 have been spent on Tampa quarterbacks on the waiver wire this year. So kind of fascinating there. Everybody's approach to waivers is kind of different. Mine is always that, I try to buy wins, but you have $160 to use, right? Use it however you want to, right? You want to spend $51 on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I totally get it. I absolutely 100% get it. Especially when you're 3-5, you have to win. You see an offense in Tampa that scores points, and they score points because they're freaking loaded at receiver and tight end, and their defense is awful. And Peyton Barber's not very good, so he's not going to have much of that touchdown equity there. So that Tampa offense is it's pretty explosive. So Jameis comes in there throwing the ball to the other team 4 times. Pretty obvious what Tampa needs to do there. I think it'll be curious what they do going forward. I believe Jameis Winston's owed a whole bunch of money next year if they decide to continue down that ship, to embark upon that quest, that journey that has not thus far been very successful. So I think they'll probably go in a different direction, but somebody will probably take Jameis. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. 6 teams are 3-5, boys. My prediction is obviously 1, maybe 2 of those teams make the playoffs. So very, very competitive league this year. Obviously, the Lollipop Guild, Jason, Alan Edward Newton, Nathan Stuffle, they're at 8-0, having a very impressive year, and sometimes he plays really good defense. This year he just has a really good team. So good luck to everybody this week. Let's go ahead and get into the preview. We'll not spend much time on my matchup because none of you really care about me. Frankly, you're probably rooting against me. But what I will say is I'm excited for DJ Moore. I decided to overspend on him by $14 this week. I think I spent $28, but I have 7 players on bye, so rostering a full team was important, which is part of the reason I traded for Cooper Kupp as well, to have a little more upside in the receiver position this week. Cam Newton, guys, you can hate on him, but take a look at what he's done this year. He arguably has been every bit as good as the year he won MVP. The year they won, they went 15-1, went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Broncos. He's been very, very good, very, 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 very good. Not just at fantasy quarterback, but real quarterbacking. That's a good team. It's a good team there. Put it on Baltimore last week. We'll talk later. That Pittsburgh team traveling to Baltimore. It's a big game. It's a big game for both teams. Here's the Pimpin' A Breezy. Hey, by the way, this is a lock of the week. Pimpin' A Breezy is going to take this down. He's going to take it down because the heart within him, with his legal ability. And I think Detroit, actually, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think Detroit beats Minnesota at Minnesota this week. Minnesota's been really good against wide receivers, but it's been strange, right? I mean, they've played San Francisco. They played Green Bay early in the year when they weren't playing well. They played Buffalo, right? The Rams lit them up in that primetime game. That was just an incredible first half. Played Arizona, the Jets. I don't trust those rankings. People look at rankings against wide receivers, and I think it's kind of silly. I think Detroit wins this game. And with Tate gone, Trampus right now is rolling out both Detroit receivers. I don't know if he's going to want to do it every week, but I think this is a good week for that Detroit offense in that dome. I just have a weird feeling that Stafford's really going to play well and hit a couple deep plays. And he's going to hit those deep plays to one of these 2 guys. Devonta Adams is going to go absolutely nuts. Packers have no chance to win this game, in my opinion. So he's going to do his thing, probably put up his 20 this week. Tramp is happy to have Melvin Gordon back. Did not have him last week when I took Trampus to Pound Town, but certainly the heart and soul of his team for 3 years, frankly, has been Melvin Gordon. And dude's just balling on another level right now. Other thing that works for Trampus this week, DeAndre Hopkins at Denver, going to steal out of Chris Harris. And then Juju Smith-Schuster not only at Baltimore, but just kind of regressing a little bit from that start of the season that, frankly, probably wasn't able to be continued at that pace. Nobody on the other side of Antonio Brown has really ever done it. Martavis Bryant was for a while, but then he, did all the things that he did, got arrested, probably should be in jail. But I know Big Jason Stuffle was a big fan of Martavis Bryant. But it's a lock of the week this week for me. Trampus taking it down. Another lock of the week is Michael in the pass first offense against Jesse. And I know it feels like I'm spewing a lot of hatred toward Jesse's team this year. But you just kind of look at it. Jesse actually had a really, really good week this week due to all the free agency moves, right? And largely they were receiver moves. So what happened for Jesse was, in addition to those receiver moves, Ty Montgomery moves out, which gives Aaron Jones a lot more work in the passing game. Okay, so perhaps he can hit this upside. By the way, be prepared for Matthew Berry of ESPN to take all this credit for talking about Aaron Jones, right? And then all of a sudden in week 9, because he predicted Ty Montgomery would fumble and get shipped out of the team. Oh, what a great call. Dude, he went for 0, 0, 4.7, 14, 5.9, 4.1. It wasn't a great call. You can't predict trades. Green Bay is not a team that generally commits to one running back. Don't know why he thought that would happen. But just be prepared. Matthew Berry will take credit for what Aaron Jones will do going forward, which for Jesse I think will be pretty solid because he's going to get Diddy back next week in his flex. So Jesse, even in a loss here, which will happen, is not eliminated because I think his team going forward can be pretty solid. He's going to have 3 potentially very good running backs. And then Matthew Stafford, who I've already kind of talked about. Cortland Sutton with DT gone certainly helps as well. Kyle Rudolph has been just frankly garbage this year. So, look at that. Just 5.7, 4.1, 3.7, 1.6, 3.9. Kick him out of there. Pick somebody else up, right? Here's what Michael has. Michael, and the reason, Jesse, I apologize, I favor Michael's team. I just don't see guys on his team who go for 3 points. And I see multiple players on your team who can go from, who can go for 3 to 7 points. Jarvis, Kyle Rudolph, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Lockett. Those are guys who certainly maybe they have situations where they're playing at home. By the way, interesting look at Michael's team. Everyone on his team is playing on the road. In contrast to that, I look at Michael, and aside from maybe Jimmy Graham, who is perhaps a little bit touchdown dependent, he just has guys who not only can go for 30, right? Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, Robert Woods, but Kerryon Johnson now getting more touches with Take on as well. Perhaps he also has a floor. And that's the thing I just think is tough for Jesse this week in this matchup. It's why Michael is my second lock of the week to take down the Shake and Bake squad. Jesse's still alive, though, right? Only takes 7 wins to get to the playoffs. Potentially have more than one team with 7 wins, but we'll see how that shakes out. Team overrated Beard, and this is another lock of the week. He's going to get smoked by Ty, son of Ron John, Joe John, Ty Fisher, Johnston this week. And part of that is James Harden, Joey. It's his surname. Surname, that's not correct. Pseudonym, whatever. He's 0-4 on the road this year. So, you look at that, it's a team that's gone 3-1 at home, 0-4 on the road. Joey, something's out of whack there. You need to inspire those troops. Really, really shitty job of that so far. But here's what Tyler has and why I like his team more than Joey's this week is those 2 matchups for his running backs, Todd Gurley and AP, couldn't really get much better, right? And not that Todd Gurley needs a good matchup because he's going after LaDainian Tomlinson and the greatest fantasy season ever, but those are pretty delicious, right? And then you got Devin Funchess at home against Tampa. Holy cow. And really it's better that Fitzpatrick's playing too because Tampa can maybe stay in that game a little bit. Keenan Allen's due at some point, and then he's got O.J. Howard in that game at Carolina that could become a little bit of a shootout. Don't sleep on that one in DFS. But looking at Joey's team this week, he's got Antonio Brown at Baltimore. If there's a good place to have Antonio Brown, it's on the road with Big Ben at Baltimore. So, that ceiling Don't see that this year. By the way, AB hasn't really been great. Only 2 games over 100 yards. Generally, by now, he has like a 190-yard game. What's keeping AB afloat, and the reason he's the number 7, probably more like the number 3 receiver on a points per game basis. But what's keeping him afloat are all those touchdowns. But, I mean, he's on pace for his biggest touchdown year of his career. Not a great year for AB. I just don't see the upside from Joey's team. Austin Hooper. By the way, Jason Witten would call him Austin Hoover. Peyton Barber. Yeah, I mean, this is a lock of the week. Ty's going to, this is Pound Town. Pound Town every day. Here we go. Moving on to the Lollipop Guild. Still on Walking Dead Season 5. Great team name. Mayonnaise. This is another lock of the week. Just Mark's without the heart and soul of his team this week. He's without Saquon Barkley. And aside from that, I talked to Adam Thielen yesterday. Hit him, slid into his DMs, actually, is what happened. Or he slid into mine. I don't know. We're pretty tight. And he's pretty pissed at management there with Marcus Kelly. He's heard he's on the trading block, and he's like, dude, what do I have to do for you? He said, what do I have to do for you? I am the number 1 ranked receiver. I have not had a game with fewer than 100 freaking yards, you whitey. Like me, guy. But he says, you know what? What do I have to do for you? I'm an 8th-round keeper, and you're trying to trade me. You're sitting there at 4-4. Are you playing for now? Are you playing for later? Either way, what are you doing? So Adam Thielen, he actually said to me, he said, dude, I might not even play. I think I'm just going to be a healthy scratch in this game. I don't think we're going to win. I think Detroit comes in. Corporal Kirk Cousins plays like crap. He's heard. He's heard the rumblings in the bushes that he might be on the move from still on Walking Dead Season 5. And he doesn't like it. And he made that very clear to me that he said, you know what? I don't like playing for this doucher, this giant doucher, this 6'6" doucher, shopping me, the leader of this team. Lollipop Guild going to take this down. Good for Mayo, though. Marcus. Mixon and Ertz are on bye. So, scheduling worked out pretty well for you there. As is Tyler Boyd. Mark, you're still alive, but you're not going to win this week, my friend. Love you. Hope Bama wins. Bama LSU. By the way, we maybe some of us maybe consider watching that game somewhere, I guess. Adam Brandt, Adam Foster. Adam Foster, you're my lock of the week. If I haven't made one yet, I'm not really sure. Frankly, it's all blurring. What I will say is my fear if I were you, Adam. Brandt. Ooh, Adam Foster, Adam Brandt. Looky there. How did I miss it? Adam Foster, my fear for you is 3 players on Adam's team. Christian McCaffrey, that matchup at home against Tampa, as much as they use him, you just got to hope Cam's rushing for the Tubbies, which, let's be real, he's pretty selfish. So that could work out. But, that's a player who could hurt you. Second player who could hurt you is Latavius Murray. In that game against Detroit at home, that could go awry. And then Travis Kelce. I think if those 3 players go off against you, it could be bad. But here's what I'm going to say is I think for your team, Adam Foster, Adam Brandt won't watch. Tom Brady in these statement games, and I don't know if this is a primetime game or not. It probably is. At home against Green Bay, Sony Michel's probably not going to play. They're going to throw it a lot. And sometimes in these statement games, these games with somebody, people compare Aaron Rodgers. Oh, is he the best quarterback? No, he's not the best quarterback. He's not even close. Tom Brady in this game, in my opinion, he's going to blitz this Green Bay team. And he's going to be throwing it all over the yard. Who knows if one goes to Gronk or not. Cordell Patterson throwing him in the lineup there. Interesting decision. Denver at home against Houston is kind of an interesting spot for your team. But Tevin Coleman going to get some volume. I like Kareem Hunt all the time. To me, the reason this is my lock of the week is I just think, just from a quarterback standpoint here, Matt Ryan with a tough matchup at Washington. And you're looking at Tom Brady potentially outscoring him by upwards of 20. And then I like the volume the rest of your team is getting. The targets, the quality of touches, the quality of offenses, and just the direction they're going. And that's why Adam Brandt is going to go down this week. He's going to move to 3-6. Adam Foster, lock it in, going to take it down. I'll see some of you Tuesday. Perhaps see some of you Saturday for BAM LSU.